Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Russell 2000, some of the general market directions, and XRP and the Sigma coin. So um, zooming out here on the Russell, you can see that we actually had an ABC correction to the downside, and we've been grinding up ever since. What's really great about the Russell's movement is that this is the small caps with the stocks that are kind of the smaller direction and more sensitive, smaller market cap and more sensitive to Fed direction on what they're doing with monetary policy as far as giving more of it. And you can see that we have actually now broken above and reclaimed the 786 fib, and we are now resisting and working on grinding through the 886. So this is our last final hurrah to get through this guy, and then from there it's new all-time highs. Into that moment, you tend to have expansion of markets where money moves out of the majors into the smaller guys because there's value there to push higher, because no longer will they be subject to interest rates going up, and now that interest rates are falling and everybody believes it, there you go. Now we can start seeing some push through. We're also seeing that with the overall market itself. ES, which is the top 500 stocks in the futures market, it too has reclaimed the 786 and is working on grinding higher through this. So a nice expansion here would be spectacular to see across all markets, and that will roll over to crypto. So in crypto land, we have our dominances here for the dollar, and you can see that these stables here related to the dollar, we've been expecting a breakout or possibly a rejection of these levels here as the dominance for the Tether and Circle coin gets weaker. And zooming in on the shorter time frames, we can see that we actually have a 5-wave move to the downside already forming, which would be an impulsive structure to the downside for the stables, which is good because as we see the dominance for the stables diminish, that means money is coming into the altcoins, resulting in alt season playing out. So expecting this to continue to weaken further from here. Now that we've basically done an equal measured move to the upside, and we should start seeing that dominance fall. So, and then finally, jumping over to XRP and Sigma. So we've been tracking here on the shorter time frames the expected ABC here in the middle for this B leg moving back up into the middle of the range, and we've kind of have it at this point. We have an ABC already forming. We'll see if this continues, because the expectation being is that there will be a gap close. I think into that gap close, though, we'll ultimately have a breakout first for another 5 waves. We have 5 waves moves to the upside, an ABC down, and that would be our B leg, and then we would move up to C, clearing and invalidating this line, which would mean that we are no longer breaking down for a lower low, and that's gone. But we can still come back down and back test a wave 2 structure into this region. So with the markets breaking out, with the dollar's dominance for stables, the stable dominance falling, along with this being a 5 and then a 5 and a 3 and a 5 for a wave 2 completion, very similar to what XRP did back in the day right here, where we had a 5-wave move off the lows, 5-wave down, and then we had an ABC up, and then another 5-wave move down. So this is my expectation, that we kind of close this gap with this final 5-wave move to the downside. Then we can finally get out of here for the next leg of upness that's coming our way. So basically that's my view on the short-term time frames, and the breakout of the major markets would ultimately lead to that. And that also carries over to Sigma as well. So we've been seeing a breakout off the lows, and then we have it's working through a down move here, and I suspect that this is probably going to be an ABC move back up again with another 5-wave move to the downside, as it's tethered to XRP. So I would imagine seeing some kind of larger ABC structure here, where we end up doing something like this, just like we had for XRP, and then we could finally get out of here. So but yeah, so Sigma is just still holding the higher lows and ultimately getting ready to break out, and XRP is following along with what we were expecting so far. So we'll see and watch this continued price action, but I'm expecting an impulsive move over the next few days as the indices break out. So all right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll check in tomorrow.